I suffered through the visual novel, so you don't have to. If you want to talk about some of the worst writing I've ever witnessed in my entire life, here it is. Honkai Impact is one of the best games I've ever played, and I love the story, I love the writing, and I talk about it time and time again. But their visual novel for Durandal is one of the worst pieces of garbage I've ever consumed. To the point where during chapter 10, heading into chapter 11, I physically cried because I was so frustrated with how bad the writing is. And that's not even an exaggeration. You know, I thought that maybe like, oh, am I just feeling overwhelmed from content creation? Is that why I'm crying? No, it's because I knew there's 20 more chapters for me to read of this utter garbage. So, since I read this, here's a video summarizing the first 10 chapters for you. And yes, I will continue to read this, and yes, I will continue to make videos to summarize the visual novel for you, so that you really don't have to. Dudu and Rita are jump into a parallel universe, because you know that's what homies do, but they're sent back in time to 1,461 days from February 29th, 2016, landing themselves in the Sea of Quanta. Dudu goes by her name Bianka in this, so I'll be referring to her as that from now on. Rita is just doing Rita things to take care of her Bianca bean. They go and meet goddamn Miguel de Cervantes, cause you know, why not just mention Don Quixote for no reason, on the fly? Anyways, Cervy's a badass and takes the bean and her dummy mommy maid to the water to fight a leviathan. But the monster got its ass beat by people in a submarine. We start to bond with the homies on the submarine and agree to leave with them to check out some magical stuff and Honkai problems. Cause, oh right, it's Honkai related. Oh, anyways, there's a sword. And like an infinity gauntlet, but more underwhelming. Little bean baby, which is Bianka, is going to try and catch them all, Pokemon style, so she can wield a sword. Did I mention that Shakespeare is the captain of the ship? William Shakespeare with anime titties? Also, there's this thing, Iron Mask, who is from the future and knows about parallel universes and just chooses to lurk around instead of giving us actual information. Oh yeah, so Honkai stuff! This is a Honkai wall of purple stuff around all of Europe. But let's ignore that again and talk about this dude we found in the water. He's a pilot, and he happens to be a German ace pilot who's won 80 air battles in Germany during World War I. Then I stopped to reread this part over and over to see if I was not crazy. But Bianca told a war veteran how what he fought is nothing compared to the Honkai, which she elaborates on, but holy smokes, that was the most rude, out-of-touch thing someone could say to another human being. It was like reading someone say, hey, I know your family died and your friends. Well, guess what? There's millions of people dying all the time, outside of your problem, so stop being a dick. Just completely dismissing his pain. Then goes on to say she survived a Honkai attack, but has no memories so it doesn't affect her. Great, making it even more unsympathetic towards Bianca. Because, you know, before I read this, I actually liked Dudu. But now I'm starting to not like her anymore, which is great for me as a reader. Anyways, besides my moral tangent, Bianca talks about how Valkyrie's assault squad leader visited her orphanage. It's the homie Ragna, which was Himiko's instructor. We find out that Ragna died. Himiko visited Bianca's orphanage and spoke with her. Thank you, visual novel, for some information I actually want to read about. Then Bianca, after being so brash before, uses that to relate to the pilot, telling him, I've seen war too. Rather than comparing suffering, she turns it into a sharing a horrific experience moment, which makes me start to like her a little bit more again. Chapter 5. Anyways, new city, new me. Off to Alexandria we go. Ta-da! We're here! Get off the submarine and Bianca gives her info and explains that she doesn't have a real birthday, just the one given to her by the teacher at the orphanage. Other information that I love to have. So, good on that. Then we meet waifu Thales. I don't know why the philosopher is a waifu who's pouty, but that's what's happening now. Chapter 6. Jimmy and Engine Boy got snatched up. Oh my god, we're getting a plot. Love that for us. Oh yeah, whatever happened to the sword? Or I mean the Honkai wall. Or literally anything they established in the first 4 chapters. Oh right, they don't matter anymore. Let's continue on anyways. Then we meet Michelangelo, and though she's supposed to be a famous sculptor, she do be a work of art herself. Also, Jean-Francois is kind of a wifey too. Rita tells Bianca to not look for him. Jimmy, that is. Because, you know, he got snatched up. But she says, screw that, I'ma do it anyways. Chapter 7. we meet robot waifu Alice! Dudes are kidnapping smart people and turning them into robots so they can use their brains, and all the homies are dying, and Jimmy and the robot waifu are the only two left. The robot waifu talks about the time her soul left her body. Can we just take a moment to talk about how, for some reason, there's this weird A-plot that's Bianca and her friends trying to rescue somebody, a weird B-plot where there's Jimmy and this robot waifu, and then a C-plot with Iron Mask, who is going to be revealed who Iron Mask is in a second, and like 2 other random NPCs that no one gives a fuck about. Yeah, we have 3 plot lines going on that are all technically connected, but they're also utter shit. So let's continue reading those. Chapter 8. Alright, this is a story about Bianca. Now, we'll get to that later. For now, let's talk about Iron Mask, who's taking off her mask. Oh my god, she's a furry! Wait, it's Schrodinger! We saw her in game before helping out Einstein in Chapter 12. Schrodinger is looking for the sword's missing stones and junk. Because, you know, the sword that we talked about earlier. Anyway, here is the Durandal sword and the story. One of the only important pieces of information. The orphanage, Durandal's age, and the sword, which is named Durandal. Okay? And Bianca can wield it. Those are the only important things we got so far. So thank you for wasting 8 chapters of my life. Let's continue. This is a description that they give of the sword. I'm just going to read it word for word because it actually is super interesting. But oh yeah, it's a side note. It's just a footnote. This is not actually the main conversation these people are having. This is just mentioned in passing. Because, you know, the parts that we care about are always a goddamn side note in this visual novel. The main plot and the characters they're trying to build could literally all die in a bomb, and I would not care. Because they haven't even developed a single one of them well. Not even Bianca's developed well, and she's the main character. Hi, I'm editing Alicia, and I'm really tired, but, I said I would read this, so I'm reading this now. Let me tell you about a certain magic sword. The name of that sword is Durandal. The sword capable of creating the heavens and earth was made by God to be used by one of its apostles. The 7 rainbow-colored gems on its hilt are proof of its power. For instance, the red gem of courage is able to track a specific kind of wavelength, which can serve as a guide during a search. The blue gem of reason has more powerful information processing capabilities, which allows for instant data analysis of any kind. Even separated, each one of them has immeasurable value. Among them, the most useful one is the Gem of Reason, due to its ability to imitate human cognition. Anyways, Bianca's playing chess in the sand, while her friend is being kidnapped, and people are having their brains ripped out of their bodies. But you know, Bianca's playing chess in the sand, waiting for the army to roll up. Rather than strategizing with one of the lead commanding officers and detectives, they're playing chess in the sand. Now, another issue I have with this is the fact that she's an A-rank Valkyrie in this. She states it over and over again. A-rank Valkyries are not just about power. So that means that she has to have the mental capacity, even at her young age, to be a Valkyrie of an A-rank status. That's why Kiana, though she's OP, even when she was in school, was still a low rank because she couldn't pass her tests, because she wasn't smart enough to have those capabilities. That means Bianca possesses those. And what does she do? Acts like a little spoiled brat and plays chess in the sand instead of strategizing an attack or an assault on the place they're going to save her friend. Back to the main plot with Schrodinger. Am I right? Because we don't care about Bianca in this. Haha, right? Oh wait, isn't it named after her? Couldn't be true, dog. We're too busy looking at Schrodinger because we're so obsessed with her for some reason. We find out that Shelly has the Gem of Reason. Oh right, Shelly's a random NPC that we don't care about, that tells us about the evil villain we're against. But oh yeah, that evil villain's dead, so who cares anyways? Alright, the robot waifu got messed up, and now she's in a pod. Sad robot noises. Chapter 9. Let's go back 18 years ago to learn about the creepy dude who is the villain of this. Faust. Oops, I guess it didn't really matter. So anyways, Schrodinger wants to use the Gem of Reason because there's some wild-ass robots around. Meanwhile, with Bianca, there's cowboys in Greece. And I don't mean like cowboys, like there's cowboys everywhere technically. I mean Western-ass Americanized cowboys in Greece. Anyways, 30 minutes later, they head into the creepy facility and Rita rolls up on a body. And now we're heading into chapter 10. And I can't tell if this was a fever dream or if I actually read this. But I'm gonna stop the video here just to talk about what happened. we got 3 pieces of information that were actually useful. They made me dislike a character who I genuinely liked from the game. How do they make me dislike Bianka? Is the craziest concept to me. Because I had liked Durandal in the game. I liked her. I liked Doo until now. Right? And then it's literally named her name as a visual novel's name? That must be a lie. That must have been a mistranslation. Because 1, the sword gets mentioned in 2 chapters, which is literally only a fragment of the entire goddamn story. Chapter 11 is when we actually get to vibe with the sword and learn about the sword and hang out with the sword. Cool. It took us 11 chapters to start talking about something I actually care about. Like, they established every character in the goddamn thing so poorly that you care about nobody. It is insane that someone could write this badly. And that's why I want to talk about this in particular, is that people talk about how this was not translated and it got fan translated, which, no, bless up to the people who took the time to fan translate this. That's amazing of you. That's incredible. But I think that's like the reason why they didn't translate it themselves. Because when you think about it, who would want this to be shown to global if it's this bad? Because that's the thing, is that the game, in-game, has some of the most intricate writing I've ever seen. Where I've told people, like, oh, you like Last of Us for plot? That's nothing compared to Honkai Impact. Honkai Impact's plot is way beyond that. The dialogue, everything, the thought process of characters, their motivations, the way they build up characters, you feel heartache. It means something. This is like reading fan fiction. I read fan fiction of the characters in a parallel universe. And that's what I've gotten so far. And then the one part I actually got excited for was a footnote, was them mentioning it in passing in a conversation so that they could move forward with their main plot. And that was learning about the sword and the gems. I'm just thoroughly disappointed, and initially thought about not making this video because I was so mad about it, but then I was like, what am I hiding from? Like, why am I not doing this? Like, in reality. Anyways, if you guys choose to read it on your own time, Godspeed. Take some drugs or something so you actually have fun while reading it. Anyways, see you later. Make sure to subscribe, hit the like button, and turn on the bell for notifications. For all things Honkai Impact, Genshin Impact, and Honkai Star Rail. And I think a part of my soul died. Anyways, there will be a part 2 to this video where I go through the next 10 chapters, and so on and so forth. Later, my dudes.